Let's dive right into today's explainer, where we're unpacking a really fascinating text by the philosopher Su Feng. This is one of those pieces that completely flips how we look at reality and dreams. I mean, you know that feeling when you wake up from a dream so vivid it actually takes you a second to remember who you are? Well, this source material takes that feeling and runs with it, asking us to seriously reconsider the hard line we draw between what's undeniably real and what's just in our heads when we close our eyes. Right out of the gate, the text hits us with this crazy hypothetical. Think about this. Would you rather experience a totally illusory but absolutely perfect, wonderful dream for 80 years straight, or spend those exact same 80 years grinding, studying, and struggling through physical reality? It's a super provocative thought experiment, right? Because if the time spent is exactly the same, why do we automatically value the physical struggle over a perfect, so-called unreal dream? And that leads straight into the core question Zhu Feng is posing. What actually is the difference between the real and the unreal? He makes the argument that our obsession with the physical world is really just a bias. I mean, think about it. When you're deep in a dream, isn't that annoyance you feel completely real in that moment? When you're trapped in a nightmare, your heart is pounding. That terror is a genuine physical reaction. The text proposes that life itself is essentially a dream, but we stubbornly box ourselves into ignoring this massive alternate space of existence. To really get this, we have to look at how the text defines life, and it puts it in all caps to make a really stark distinction. Yes, human bodies die. That's just biology. But life, capital L-I-F-E, absolutely does not. In this framework, life is an infinite, ongoing experience that continues in a dream state without a physical body, long after human death. So the question isn't if we'll keep dreaming, it's what kind of eternal dreams we're going to be stuck in. Section 1. The Architecture of Dreams. Navigating the infinite space of life. So navigating this infinite dream space means we get to do the impossible. We're talking reuniting with lost loved ones, completely defying gravity, or just miraculously transforming into something else entirely. You can even tap into magic powers. Xu Feng points out that these dream sensations aren't just watered-down versions of reality. They can actually be way more intense, comfortable, and unforgettable than anything we feel in waking life. It is literally an existence with zero boundaries. But of course, there's a catch. The quality of those dreams, whether you're floating in euphoria or running from monsters, is directly tied to your consciousness. The text introduces this idea of our non-material structure. Basically, if the non-material structure of your life is perfect, you get to have amazing, pleasant dreams. But if it's defective, you're looking at nightmares. It acts like a perfect spiritual mirror, reflecting exactly what's going on inside you. Which brings up a really profound diagnostic question from the source. Where exactly are heaven and hell? If our dreams and our eternal experiences are completely dictated by this non-material structure, then heaven and hell can't just be physical places up in the clouds or buried underground, right? Exactly. According to this philosophy, hell is entirely constructed within our own consciousness. If your mind is constantly spinning with envy, hate, greed, fear, or this constant urge to control and dominate others, you are actively building a defective non-material structure. Xu Feng is super clear here. Harbor this hell mindset, and you are guaranteed to have nightmares right now, and you will literally descend into hell when your physical body dies, essentially trapping yourself in a nightmare of your own making. On the flip side, we have the heaven mindset. This means actively filling your mind with joy, gratitude, love, and what the text beautifully describes as the fragrance of beauty and an unrestrained nature. Cultivating these traits creates a perfect non-material structure. And the payoff? You get pleasant dreams today and absolute certainty that your life will ascend to a heavenly dream state later. Your inner emotional world literally dictates your eternal destination. Now, you might be listening and thinking, well, I don't go around feeling actively hateful, so why do I still get nightmares? Xu Feng uses this great iceberg metaphor to explain that. He argues that we are generally completely unaware of our real consciousness. The thoughts we actually recognize day to day, that's just the surface. They're just the tiny tip of the iceberg floating visibly above the water. Lurking beneath that surface is what the text calls the deep consciousness. This is the massive hidden foundation of the iceberg, and honestly, it's the engine driving this entire philosophy. The author claims it's this unseen, deep consciousness that's actually creating both our wild dream worlds at night and our waking realities during the day. It is the invisible architect of everything we experience. To put into perspective just how much power this hidden layer holds over us, the text points to a very specific number, 18. It claims there are exactly 18 distinct factors in our waking lives that we are 100% powerless to manage or control. Think about the very foundational elements of who you are. We absolutely cannot choose our parents. We don't get a say in the exact time we're born or the specific environment we're born into. We lack control over these crucial life parameters because, much like how you can't control the environment in a regular dream, these waking life elements were entirely dictated and locked in by your deep consciousness long before you even knew what was happening. Section 2. Universal laws of life connecting to the Tao. So this deep consciousness isn't just throwing darts at a board. It connects directly with the Tao and operates under incredibly strict universal rules. On one hand, you have the law of causality, which the text says yields retribution. On the other, the law of attraction, which provides vital checks and balances. The mechanics behind our spiritual lives are incredibly complex, but the author stresses that they are meticulous and completely airtight. There are zero loopholes here. Section 3. Cleaning your deep consciousness, the ultimate challenge. Xu uses some pretty stark, famous imagery to lay down a warning here. He writes that it's easy to reach hell, but harder to enter heaven than the proverbial camel passing through the eye of a needle. Why is it so ridiculously hard? Because going in and actively scrubbing out those deeply ingrained negative factors from that massive underwater part of your consciousness iceberg is a monumentally tough job. But the source material does offer a clear game plan. If you can do the hard work to remove those bad factors hiding in your deep consciousness and meticulously clean the negative clutter from your life, the results are huge. Your nightly dreams will become consistently amazing, and ultimately, your life will ascend to heaven when your physical body moves on. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. Ask yourself honestly, what kind of dreams are you having most nights? Are you waking up feeling joyful and at peace, or are you waking up stressed and terrified? Because according to this text, tonight's dream isn't just random neurons firing, it's the ultimate diagnostic test revealing the true state of your deep consciousness.